Hello guys, Chris here and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be testing the GTX 960 in Watch Dogs 2, and today I'm going to be commenting over the video instead of live commenting, or commentating, I'm not sure. But yeah, we're going to be testing at 1080p low, medium, high and ultra settings, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about the performance here and comparing it a little bit with the RX 570. So right now at this spot, with the 570 on low settings, we were getting actually around 20 more FPS than the 960. So if you guys are considering a graphics card, a cheap graphics card, they're mostly in the same price bracket when bought used, The 960 can readily be bought for around 60 euros, I think, 60 to 70 euros, and the 570 can be like, you can find some 570s for like 70 to 80, so it's not a big price difference, and that price difference gives you a lot more FPS. Right now at this spot we were actually seeing a CPU bottleneck with the 570. We were getting 70 plus FPS, 70 to 80 FPS, sometimes 80 plus. But yeah, with the 960 we are obviously GPU bound, and the FPS are staying in the 60s, 60 to 70, so it's still a good experience. I think Watch Dogs 2 can be played with like 30 FPS, it's playable with 30 FPS, so it's not a big deal that you aren't getting like smooth 60 FPS all of the time, but it's something to keep in mind, Alright, right at this spot with the RX 570 we were getting 77 to 85 FPS. Here we're getting 66 to 75, so it's a 10 FPS performance difference. Now in medium settings, high and ultra settings, I disabled motion blur because no one likes motion blur. You shouldn't like motion blur, and as I say, nobody should use motion blur here on the PC because you have the option to disable it, whereas on console you can't do so. But yeah, never mind, we're not talking about PC versus console here. On medium settings here, we were getting 70 plus FPS on the 570, drops to 64, 63 when we are driving through those little explosion things, and we're seeing 50 plus FPS with the 960 here, so another big difference. You could play this game smoothly on the 570 and not on the 960, not as smooth at least, but still the 960 is doing a pretty good job here, and it's a good option, it's a decent option. Right now we're getting the same FPS on the RX 570 as the 960 because we are CPU bound on the 570. But yeah, 960 is a good option for those of you that can't find deals on the RX 570, for example, and you don't want to buy a 1050 Ti, for example, which gets pretty much the same performance as the 960 in most games, and understandably so, because the 1050 Ti is a very bad price performance card. So we're seeing 50 to 60 FPS still here on the GTX 960. We're seeing 75, around 75 with the RX 570 at the same spot. We're approaching our destination here on medium settings. But yeah, I really don't recommend you guys to get a 1050 Ti, for example, because, well, the 960, as I was saying, doesn't really cost that much, and it can readily be found on AliExpress, for example, for 60 euros. So that's a cheap price for something that's readily available, and you guys have some warranty and stuff with AliExpress. If the item turns out to be a dud or it's broken or something, they will refund you. And yeah, here on the 570 we are actually seeing 65 to 75 FPS, whereas on the 960 we're seeing close to 40. So we got drops to 56 while driving through those things on the 570, 52, and with the 960 we get drops to like 36, 37. So now we're seeing a much bigger difference here actually. So the experience on the 570 will be much better than the 960. But yeah, I'm just comparing them both, so I have like something to talk about, and this video doesn't turn out to be just boring, you know, because I talk now in my benchmark videos on most of them now. So lately, like for a week and a half, I've been talking in every benchmark video and putting out 2 videos a day. So yeah, I didn't want to break that like thing and stop and upload like a video now without me talking. So yeah, hopefully this is more interesting, you know. Okay, so with the 570 right here, I'm just trying to find it in the video. We were seeing 56 FPS when we dropped in the water. We're seeing 37 on the 960, like 40s now, and 66 in the 570. So much smoother experience in the RX 570. Alright, now ultra settings, and I didn't do very high. I did do very high on the 570, but I just forgot about it. Let me skip to ultra settings. Okay, on ultra settings with the RX 570 right here, we were getting 40 FPS, and we're below 30 on the GTX 960. So here on ultra settings is probably where you see the biggest difference. Probably on high, maybe, but maybe on high too. But yeah, 30 plus FPS compared to like 27 to 29 is a really big difference. 26 there. So the 960 here isn't playable anymore in Watch Dogs 2, in my opinion at least. That drops to 25 there, you saw it. Oh, I even surprised myself. I already recorded this, but I got surprised as well. Okay. Alright, why the hell did I do that? I don't know, man. Let's go. I'm gonna get this car.
Get out.
At least they don't swear here, like in GTA. They just say, get out! Like, in a mad voice, get out! Alright, 23, 22 FPS there, while the RX 570, I don't think it dropped from 30. And it's getting around 35 FPS most of the time, 35 to 40, while this is getting 25 to 30 most of the time. So that's a huge difference right there. So if you guys are considering one of these two cards at the same price point, more or less, I really do recommend the RX 570, because I've seen a lot of people in the comments preferring the 960 to the RX 570 for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, you could play like this obviously, but there's no point in doing so. The game doesn't look that different from high settings on ultra. Yeah, right now on the RX 570 at the same spot we are seeing 35 FPS. Here we're seeing 23, 21. Wow, that was the lowest we've seen today. And well guys, as I said, this game is actually playable at 30 FPS. If you guys lock the FPS to 30, it is playable, and I would play like that. For example, if I had to lower the FPS to low settings like we do here on the GTX 960 to get like the 60 FPS experience, and if it drops like to 50 sometimes, I would prefer probably to play on high settings because the game looks a lot better, and 30 FPS is playable in this game. So I would probably choose to play at 1080p high with a 30 FPS lock. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I love you all. Bye bye.